The night was quiet. The small human town rested under a sky full of stars. Most people were asleep, but a few humans were still awake, moving through the edge of the forest. They were not soldiers, not explorers, just ordinary people walking back home after a late day of work. The night air was cool, and the sound of insects filled the silence. Everything seemed normal, then a sound broke the calm. It was soft at first, almost impossible to hear. A faint cry. Not the cry of a bird or a dog. It was something different, something strange. The humans stopped walking. They looked at each other. One of them asked quietly, "Did you hear that?" They listened again. The sound came once more, weak, broken, almost like a whimper. It was the sound of pain. Slowly they followed the noise. Their feet pressed against the dry leaves on the ground, making small crunches with every step. The deeper they went into the forest, the darker it became. The moonlight could not reach far through the trees. The cry grew louder, and with every step their hearts beat faster. Finally they saw something on the ground. At first it looked like a shadow, a strange shape lying among the roots of an old tree. One of the humans took out a flashlight. The beam of light cut through the darkness, and what it revealed made them freeze. It was alive. The creature was small, curled up as if trying to hide. Its skin was pale but had a strange glow, like soft silver reflecting the moonlight. It looked hurt. Its body was shaking, and there was a dark wound across its side. Its eyes opened slowly, glowing faintly in the light. The humans gasped. Those eyes were not like any animal they had ever seen. They were too bright, too sharp, filled with fear, but also something else, something almost intelligent. One of the humans whispered, "Is this an alien?" The creature tried to move, but its strength was gone. It made a weak sound again, almost like a call for help. For a moment, nobody spoke. Nobody moved. The forest felt heavy with silence. The humans were caught between fear and pity. It looked dangerous, yes. Its body was not like any animal on Earth. It had thin limbs, too long for its size, and a strange pattern across its skin that seemed to shift in the light. But at the same time, it looked helpless. It was small, weak, alone. One of the humans took a step closer. The others tried to stop him, warning him that it could be a trick, that maybe the creature was not as weak as it looked. But he could not turn away. Something in the creature's eyes pulled him in. It was the same look a wounded dog might give, or a bird with a broken wing. He bent down, his hand shaking slightly, and whispered, "It's okay. We won't hurt you." The alien pet watched him carefully. For a second it seemed ready to strike. But then, its head lowered, as if it no longer had the will to fight. Its breathing was shallow, each breath a struggle. The man reached out slowly, his fingers brushing against its skin. It was warm but strange, like touching smooth metal and soft flesh at the same time. The creature flinched but did not resist. Behind them, the others looked around nervously. The forest felt different now. The air was colder. A strange wind passed between the trees, carrying with it a faint hum, almost like an echo of machines far away. One woman whispered, "We shouldn't be here. What if something is looking for it?" The man ignored her words. He carefully lifted the creature into his arms. It was lighter than he expected, almost weightless, but he could feel how weak it was. Its body trembled against his chest. The alien's eyes flickered as if trying to stay open. For a brief second it made a sound, a short broken noise that almost sounded like a word. Nobody understood it, but the meaning was clear. It was asking for help. The humans stood in silence. They were just ordinary people. They had never seen aliens, never thought they would. But now, right in front of them, they held a life that was not from Earth. They knew this was dangerous. They knew that if the government, or worse, if someone else found out, everything would change. But in that moment, the fear was smaller than the feeling of compassion. The man holding the alien looked at the others. "We can't leave it here," he said firmly. "If we walk away, it will die." The group exchanged uneasy looks. Their hearts told them he was right, but their minds screamed of danger. Still, slowly, one by one, they nodded. Above them, hidden in the sky, a faint light moved among the stars. It was distant, almost invisible, but it was there, watching, searching. The humans did not notice it yet. They only knew they had found something impossible, something fragile, something that needed them, and with that, they carried the alien pet out of the forest, unaware that this small act of kindness would change everything. Because in saving this creature, they were not just rescuing a pet. They were stepping into a story far larger than they could imagine. The walk back to town was heavy with silence. The humans carried the strange creature carefully, each step filled with doubt. None of them had ever seen anything like it before. Its body was light, almost too light, as if it was made of air and shadow. Yet its breathing was weak, every rise and fall of its chest a reminder of how close it was to death. The one who carried it kept looking down at the alien's glowing eyes. Sometimes they closed, sometimes they flickered open again. When they did, the creature's gaze was always on him, not on the others, not on the dark forest, only on him. It was as if it had already chosen who it trusted. Behind him, the others whispered, "This is dangerous," one man said in a low voice. "We don't know what it is. It could be carrying something. A disease. A weapon." Another shook her head. "Look at it. It's just a child. Or maybe a pet. We can't let it die out here." The leader frowned. His heart was torn between fear and compassion. He knew what the right thing was, but he also knew the risk. What if this creature wasn't alone? What if something or someone was hunting for it? As they stepped out of the forest, the town's lights appeared in the distance. A strange relief filled them, but it was quickly replaced by worry. How could they hide something like this? If anyone else saw it, there would be questions. Too many questions. They decided to take it to a small old workshop on the edge of town. The place was rarely used, filled with dusty tools and broken machines. It was quiet and hidden, the perfect place to stay unseen. Inside, they laid the creature on a workbench. The dim light from a single bulb flickered overhead, casting long shadows across its strange body. For the first time, they had the chance to look at it closely. Its skin was smooth, but not like human skin. It had faint patterns across it like glowing lines that pulsed slowly as if they were alive. Its fingers were long and thin, with tiny glowing tips like sparks of light trapped under the surface. Its wound looked worse under the light. A deep cut ran across its side, dark fluid seeping from it. The humans exchanged worried looks. "We need to stop the bleeding," the woman said. She grabbed a first aid kit from the shelf. Her hands trembled, but she pushed the fear away. With gentle care, she cleaned the wound and wrapped it in cloth. The creature winced but did not fight back. Instead, it let out a soft, almost musical sound like a whisper of gratitude. The man who carried it leaned closer. "Do you understand us?" he asked softly. The creature blinked slowly. Its glowing eyes met his, and then, to everyone's shock, it made a weak attempt at a nod. Not a perfect nod, but close enough. The humans froze. Their hearts skipped a beat. This wasn't just an animal. This was something far more. The air grew tense. Everyone in the room felt it, an invisible weight pressing down. They were no longer just rescuers. They were keepers of a secret that could change everything. One of the men shook his head violently. "This is wrong. We can't do this. If anyone finds out, we'll be in trouble. Maybe even worse. Governments, armies, scientists, they'll come for us. For it." The leader clenched his jaw. He looked down at the creature again. Its small chest rose and fell, each breath weaker than the last. Without their help, it would not survive the night. He spoke firmly, his voice breaking the silence. "I don't care what happens to us. If we walk away, it dies, and I won't let that happen." The others looked at him, torn between fear and respect. Finally, one by one, they nodded. The creature let out another soft sound, its glowing eyes closing again as if it could finally rest. But outside the workshop, the night was not still. A faint vibration shook the ground, too soft for human ears, but enough to disturb the silence of the town's edge. A light flickered far away in the sky, moving slowly, searching. Inside, the humans worked to save the creature's life, unaware that time was running short. The woman placed a bowl of water beside it. The creature stirred, lifting its thin hand with effort. Its fingers touched the edge of the bowl, and the water shimmered strangely as if responding to its touch. The humans gasped but said nothing. "See?" the leader whispered. "It's not dangerous, it's amazing," but deep down he knew the truth. Amazing or not, something this strange could not exist here without drawing attention. Already he felt the eyes of the unknown pressing closer. The humans stayed by the creature's side for hours, keeping watch, keeping hope alive. They spoke in whispers, shared nervous glances, and tried to understand what they had brought into their world. At last, the creature fell into deep sleep. Its breathing grew steadier, its body calmer. For the first time since they found it, it looked at peace. The humans should have felt relief. but instead they felt unease. Something in the air had changed. The quiet outside was no longer comforting. It was heavy, filled with the promise of danger. The leader looked out through the broken window. Far away beyond the trees, he saw a light in the sky blink once, then vanish. His stomach tightened. He whispered to himself, "We're not alone tonight." And with that thought, he realized the truth. Rescuing the creature was only the beginning. The workshop was quiet. Dust floated in the air, moving slowly under the weak yellow light of the bulb above. The humans sat around the strange creature, tired but unable to sleep. None of them dared to leave. Something about the alien made them feel both afraid and protective at the same time. The creature lay on the workbench, wrapped in cloth. Its wound was covered and its breathing was steadier now. Yet every breath still sounded like a struggle, as if each one could be its last. The man who carried it leaned closer, watching it carefully. He noticed small changes. The faint lines on its skin glowed softly, pulsing like waves of light. Sometimes the light grew brighter when someone touched it, as if the creature was responding. One of the women whispered, "It looks alive in a different way, like its body is more than just flesh." The leader nodded but said nothing. He was focused on the creature's eyes. Even while it slept, they sometimes flickered open, glowing faintly. Those eyes held something deep, fear, yes, but also intelligence. Hours passed slowly. The humans spoke in low voices, sharing theories, doubts, and worries. "What if it's dangerous?" one asked. "What if more of them come?" another added. "What if it's just a lost pet?" the woman replied softly. At last, the creature stirred. Its thin arms twitched and its eyes opened again, glowing brighter than before. It made a weak sound, soft, broken, but clear. It was not the sound of an animal. It was the sound of something trying to communicate. The man leaned in. "You're safe here. We helped you." The creature blinked slowly, then raised one trembling hand. Its fingers brushed against his arm. The glowing tips left a faint shimmer like sparks of light crawling across his skin. He gasped but did not pull away. Instead, he let the alien's hand rest there. A strange feeling filled him. Not pain, not fear, but warmth. It was as if the creature was sending emotions directly into him. He felt gratitude. Weak, fragile, but real. "It understands," he whispered. "It knows we saved it." The others moved closer, watching in awe. The creature shifted its gaze to them, and for the first time, it did something that stunned everyone. It tried to mimic them. It opened its mouth and forced out a broken sound, almost like a human word. It was clumsy, rough, but it sounded like thank. The room fell silent. The humans looked at one another, shocked. This was no ordinary creature. It was trying to speak, trying to connect. From that moment, the fear in the room softened. Curiosity and compassion grew stronger. The humans began to treat it less like a strange being and more like a guest, one who needed care. They brought water again. This time the creature drank slowly, watching them with sharp eyes. When the woman smiled, the creature made a soft sound, almost like an attempt to copy her smile. Its thin lips curved weakly, not quite right, but close enough to send a shiver through everyone watching. The bond was forming, but outside the world was not safe. Strange flickers of light appeared in the night sky, too quick for most eyes to notice. The humans did not see them, but the creature did. Its body tensed, its glow dimming as if it felt the presence of something hunting. Inside, however, the humans continued their quiet care. They cleaned its wound again, changed the cloth, and whispered gentle words, even though they knew the creature could not fully understand. Yet somehow it did. It answered not with words, but with looks, with small sounds, with faint touches that carried meaning. At one point, the man set a small metal toy on the table, a broken wind-up bird he used to repair. The creature reached for it. Its glowing fingers touched the bird, and for a moment the toy moved, wings twitching as if alive. The humans gasped again. "It fixed it," the woman whispered. The creature tilted its head, confused by their reaction, but then let out a soft trill, almost like laughter. The sound was weak but warm, and it filled the room with something new. Joy. For the first time since they found it, the humans smiled without fear. They laughed softly, relieved to see the creature respond with something so pure. The bond grew stronger with each hour. The humans no longer saw a monster. They saw a wounded life trying to survive, trying to connect. And the creature no longer looked at them with fear. Instead, it looked at them with trust. But the peace was fragile. Late that night, as the humans dozed in chairs around the workshop, the creature suddenly stirred again. Its glow brightened, its body trembling. It made sharp, panicked sounds, waking everyone instantly. "What's wrong?" the leader asked, standing quickly. The creature pointed weakly toward the sky through the window. Its eyes glowed brighter, filled with fear. The humans rushed to look, but outside they saw only darkness. No lights, no movement. The forest was quiet, yet the alien would not calm down. It clutched at the man's sleeve, trembling, making desperate sounds. The meaning was clear: danger was coming. The humans exchanged nervous looks. The bond they had built now came with a price. By saving this creature, they had pulled themselves into something bigger, something unknown. The leader put a hand on the creature's shoulder. "Don't worry," he said firmly. "We won't let anyone hurt you." The alien's glowing eyes softened. Slowly, it relaxed again, lying back down. Its trust in them had deepened, but the humans knew the truth. They had crossed a line they could never return from. Outside, unseen in the darkness, a faint hum drifted through the air. Low, mechanical and distant. It was a sound that promised the peace of the workshop would not last. The humans had saved the alien. They had bonded with it, but now someone or something was coming to take it back. Morning came, but the humans did not feel safe. The workshop was filled with the smell of oil and dust, and the alien creature still lay weak on the table. Its glow was dim now, as if hiding itself from something unseen. The humans sat in silence, drinking cheap coffee, their eyes heavy from a sleepless night. They had spent hours watching over the creature, listening to its strange breathing and wondering what would come next. Then the first sign appeared. A radio in the corner of the workshop crackled to life. It had been broken for months, never touched, but now it buzzed with static. The humans froze. Slowly the sound shifted into faint whispers, not in any human language. The creature's body stiffened, its glowing lines flickering wildly as if it understood the message. The man quickly unplugged the radio, but the damage was done. They all knew. Someone was looking. The woman whispered, "It's not safe here anymore." The leader shook his head. "Moving it now is more dangerous. We need to stay hidden, at least until we understand what we're dealing with." But outside, the world was already changing. Birds left the trees, flying away in flocks. Dogs in the town barked without reason, restless and loud. The air itself seemed heavier, carrying an electric hum that made the hair on their arms stand up. And then there was the mark. When the humans changed the creature's bandage, they noticed something new. Beneath its skin, faint symbols glowed for a moment before fading again. They were not natural scars. They looked like burns, patterns pressed into its flesh. The humans exchanged worried looks. "Someone did this to it," the woman whispered. "This wasn't an accident. It was marked." The alien pet's eyes opened weakly. It lifted one trembling hand and touched the glowing mark, then shook its head slowly as if trying to say, "Not mine. Theirs." The humans didn't understand the full meaning, but they knew one thing. The creature was not just lost. It had been hunted, maybe owned, maybe controlled, and now those who marked it would come. That night the second sign appeared. The humans tried to rest in turns. The leader sat by the window, keeping watch. The forest outside was calm, the town quiet. But then a strange light flickered between the trees. At first it looked like fireflies, small glowing sparks drifting slowly through the dark. But they moved too perfectly, too controlled. He leaned closer. The lights shifted, forming a circle, scanning the ground. His heart raced. These were not insects. These were machines. He turned to warn the others, but when he looked back, the lights were gone. The forest was dark again, too dark. The leader whispered to himself, "They're searching." Inside the workshop, the alien stirred, sensing the same presence. Its glow dimmed further, its breathing faster, like a frightened child hiding from a monster. The humans gathered around it, whispering comfort, though their own voices shook. Another hour passed. Nothing happened. No lights, no sounds. The forest was still. But the humans knew the truth. The silence was worse than noise. Something was waiting. The third sign came with the storm. Clouds gathered above the town, thick and heavy. The wind picked up, rattling the old windows of the workshop. The rain fell hard and thunder rolled across the sky. But mixed with the thunder was another sound, low, metallic, almost like engines humming above the clouds. The humans looked up, but they could see nothing through the storm. Still, the alien clutched at the man's arm, trembling violently. Its glowing eyes stared at the ceiling, filled with terror. "They're here," the leader whispered. Panic filled the room. They had no weapons, no plan. They were just ordinary people with an extraordinary secret, and outside, forces far beyond their understanding were closing in. The woman grabbed the leader's arm. "We can't fight them. If they come, we'll lose everything." He looked down at the alien, weak and frightened, and shook his head. "Then we don't fight, we hide. We protect it until we have no choice." The storm raged on, and with it came silence inside the workshop. The humans sat together, guarding the creature, each one knowing the danger was real now. Hours passed, and then, just before dawn, a new noise cut through the storm. A faint click like footsteps outside. Not human footsteps. Too sharp, too heavy, the humans froze, listening. The alien's glow brightened, fear flooding its body. The sound grew closer, circling the workshop once, twice, then stopping. No one dared to breathe. The leader moved to the window slowly, carefully pulling the curtain just a little. What he saw made his stomach twist. A figure stood in the rain, tall and metallic, its body glowing faintly with the same symbols burned into the alien's skin. It had no face, only a smooth surface where a face should be, reflecting the lightning, and it was waiting. The leader pulled back quickly, his heart racing. He looked at the others, his voice low but sharp. "They've found us." The humans gathered around the alien, fear filling their eyes. The creature trembled, clutching at them as if begging them not to let go. Outside, the figure raised its head to the storm. Its body flickered once, and then it vanished, gone into the rain as if it was never there. But the humans knew better. This was not the end. This was only the beginning of the hunt. The signs were clear now. The alien had been marked, and the hunters had arrived. The workshop no longer felt safe. After the storm, after the faceless figure in the rain, silence had returned, but it was not the silence of peace. It was the silence of a hunter waiting for the right moment. The humans sat close together, the alien between them. They whispered little now. Fear had stolen their voices. But in their eyes, one question burned. Why? Why was this creature hunted? The alien stirred weakly. Its glowing eyes flickered open, brighter than before but filled with pain. It looked at the humans, then at the window, where the storm had left streaks of water running down the glass. Slowly, it raised one trembling hand and touched its wound. The leader leaned closer. "You want to tell us something?" The creature nodded. The humans froze. It was the first clear nod, slow but deliberate. Their hearts pounded. For days they had guessed, imagined, wondered. Now the creature was ready to speak, not with words but with something else. Its glowing fingertips brushed the man's skin. A warmth spread through him, not painful but deep, reaching into his mind. And then it began. Images, not pictures, not words, but flashes of memory, pouring from the creature into the humans. They gasped, eyes wide, as visions filled their minds. They saw a great ship in the sky, larger than any human city, floating among stars. Inside, creatures like their guest walked in long halls of shining silver. But the one lying in the workshop was different. Smaller, weaker, treated not as equal but as lesser. They saw chains, not made of metal but of light, binding it and others like it. They were used, not cared for. Some were pets. Some were tools. None were free. The vision changed. Battle, fire in the sky, ships clashing with thunder. The small creature had been caught in the fight, wounded, left behind on a world not its own. Its own people, or perhaps its masters, had abandoned it without a second thought. The humans gasped, clutching their heads as the images poured into them. The alien trembled, its glow flaring with every memory shared. And then they understood. This was no soldier, no weapon, no monster. It was a survivor, an outcast, left to die because it was considered worthless. Tears welled in the woman's eyes. "They threw you away," she whispered, her voice shaking. "Like trash." The alien looked at her, its glowing eyes soft with sadness. It made a sound, low, broken, but full of meaning. A plea, a cry. The leader clenched his fists. His voice was firm, though his heart was heavy. "Not anymore. You're not alone now. We won't leave you behind." The alien's glow softened like a faint smile. But the bond they shared now carried a terrible weight, because with the memories came another truth. The hunters outside were not random. They were not searching for just a creature. They were searching for this one. The mark burned into its skin was not decoration, it was ownership. A brand. The faceless hunters were not strangers. They were its masters, come to take back what they believed was theirs. The humans sat in silence, the truth heavy in the air. One of them broke it with a whisper. We can't fight them. Look at what they have. Machines, ships, power. We're nothing compared to them. The leader shook his head. Maybe. But what we do now defines who we are. We don't give it back. We protect it. The woman nodded, her eyes fierce despite her fear. Humans don't abandon the weak. Not when we can help. The alien looked at them, its glowing eyes shimmering with something new. Hope. But the truth was not finished. The creature pressed its glowing hand against the table, and another vision filled the room. This one darker. They saw cities burning, skies torn open by fire. They saw armies marching, faceless and endless. They saw chains spreading, wrapping around not just aliens, but humans too. The woman gasped. They're coming here, aren't they? The alien gave a slow, sad nod. The humans felt cold dread settle in their bones. This was not just about one wounded creature. This was about Earth. If the hunters came in full force, humanity would face the same chains, the same cruelty. The leader looked at his people. Ordinary humans. No weapons. No training. Just a handful of frightened people in a broken workshop. And yet they had something powerful. Choice. He stood, his voice steady. We save it, we hide it. And when they come, we stand in their way. Maybe we can't fight their armies, but we can fight for this life. And that's enough. The others nodded slowly. Fear still filled them, but so did resolve. The alien reached out again, touching the leader's hand. A warmth passed through him once more, but this time it was different. Not just sadness, not just memory. This time it was trust. The creature was no longer just a guest. No longer just a secret. It was part of them now. Part of humanity's story. Outside, the storm faded. The morning sun broke through the clouds, spilling light into the workshop. For a moment, it felt like hope. But high above, beyond human eyes, a shadow moved in orbit. A ship silent and watchful. The hunters had not given up. They had only just begun. And now both human and alien knew the truth. The fight for survival was no longer a question of if. It was a question of when. The morning sun had not yet burned away the storm clouds when the first sound came. It was low at first, like distant thunder, but it grew louder, sharper, more mechanical. The humans in the workshop froze. The alien stirred, its glowing lines pulsing in fear. The leader looked out through a crack in the wooden wall. His breath caught. Above the forest, 3 silver shapes cut through the clouds. They moved slowly, scanning the ground below, their undersides glowing with pale blue light. They weren't planes. They weren't drones. They were hunting ships. They've found us, he whispered. The others gathered around, hearts pounding. None of them had weapons. None of them had a plan. All they had was courage and the wounded creature lying on the table. The alien sat up weakly, its glowing eyes locked on the sky. It made a sharp sound, urgent and fearful. The humans didn't understand the words, but they understood the meaning. Run. But it was too late. A beam of light shot down from one of the ships, scanning across the forest. Trees glowed, their outlines burning in the light. The beam swept closer and closer to the workshop. The walls rattled as if the ship's eyes could already see inside. The leader shouted, "Move! Now!" The humans grabbed the alien carefully, wrapping it in a blanket to hide its glow. They rushed out the back door, boots sinking into the wet mud. The forest loomed before them, dark and heavy with mist. They ran. Behind them, the workshop exploded in light. The beam cut straight through it, tearing the old wood apart like paper. Flames erupted, smoke rising into the morning sky. The place that had been their secret was gone. The chase had begun. The humans ran deeper into the trees, branches whipping against their faces. The alien clung to the man's chest, trembling but silent. Above, the ships moved in perfect lines, their beams cutting across the forest like blades of light. One of the women stumbled, falling hard into the mud. The leader pulled her up, his voice sharp but steady. "Keep going. Don't stop." The alien raised a hand weakly. Its glowing fingers flickered, and for a moment the forest seemed to react. Leaves shivered unnaturally, shadows twisted, as if the creature was trying to hide them. The beams above wavered, hesitating, then swept past. The humans gasped, realizing the truth. It wasn't powerless. Even weak, the alien could help. but its strength was fading fast. Minutes felt like hours. Every step was a struggle, every breath heavy with fear. The humans pushed on, their only hope to reach the old mine at the edge of the forest, a place deep underground where the hunters' beams might not reach. But the hunters were already closing in. The ships hovered lower now, engines roaring. From their undersides, new shapes dropped into the forest. Tall figures with faceless heads, their bodies glowing faintly with the same symbols burned into the alien skin. The hunters. They moved silently, their heavy steps crushing. Branches underfoot. They did not search like men. They did not call to one another. They moved with perfect precision, like machines following a signal only they could hear. The alien whimpered, burying its face against the man's chest. Its body shook, not just with fear but with recognition. These were not strangers. These were its captors, its owners. One of the hunters appeared ahead of them, blocking the path. It stood tall, metallic arms reaching down almost to its knees, its faceless head tilted as if listening to their pounding hearts. The humans stopped, breathless, trapped. The leader looked around desperately. Running forward was impossible. Going back meant running into the others. They were surrounded. The alien stirred, raising its trembling hand again. Light flickered weakly between its fingers. It tried to form a shield, tried to push the hunter back, but its strength was too small. The glow sputtered out like a dying flame. The hunter stepped closer. The leader clenched his jaw. His fists were empty, his body shaking, but he stepped forward anyway, standing between the alien and the faceless figure. His voice was hoarse but firm. "You can't have it." The hunter tilted its head again. It did not speak. Instead, its chest opened with a hiss, revealing a cage of glowing light. It was meant for the alien. The humans panicked. One woman grabbed a rock and hurled it at the hunter. It bounced off harmlessly. Another swung a metal pipe she had carried from the workshop. The blow landed, but the hunter did not even flinch. The leader's heart sank. They were ants fighting a storm. But still, they fought. Then something unexpected happened. The alien, weak and trembling, reached out and touched the ground. The glowing lines across its body flared brighter than before, and suddenly the forest answered. Roots twisted from the soil, rising like snakes. Branches bent low, leaves shuddering. The hunter froze as thick roots wrapped around its legs, holding it in place. For the first time, the faceless figure hesitated. The humans gasped in awe. The alien collapsed again, drained from the effort. The man held it tighter, whispering, "Hold on. Just hold on." The leader pointed to the path. "Go to the mine." They ran again, hearts pounding, mud spraying beneath their boots. Behind them, the trapped hunter tore free of the roots with a violent crack, its glowing body burning brighter. The chase was not over, but the humans didn't stop. They carried the alien deeper into the forest, the sound of the hunter's steps echoing behind them, closer with every heartbeat. The mine entrance appeared at last, dark and broken, half hidden by vines. They rushed inside, the cold air swallowing them. For the first time, the ships above could not see them, but safety was only an illusion. The hunters would not give up. They never did. The humans collapsed in the dark, gasping for air, their hearts racing. The alien lay limp in their arms, its glow faint but steady. They had survived for now. But as they listened to the mechanical hums outside, they knew the truth. The hunters were not just here for the alien. They were here for anyone who dared protect it.